All right. Hey guys, here I am in Moho, just working on some stuff. If the sound is weird, I apologize. Having a little coffee and just trying to make sure everything is working good here. All right, so I've just made a few mouths and stuck them in a switch layer. So right now I have an ooh mouth, an O mouth, and a normal mouth. This normal one will have various controls on it, so will the others, so they can sort of morph and move while they are being manipulated or swapped out. So now I need to make a few more of these like phoneme mouths. So I'm going to take, I think, the normal mouth. I'm going to have to make a teeth layer in here, I just realized as well. I'm going to add a new layer in here. This is going to be my, actually, you know what? I'm probably going to take the normal mouth and just duplicate it like I've done before. So we're just going to right click there and duplicate this layer. And now this one is going to be called the, let's do like a CH or S mouth. So CH/S. It also works for T, all kinds of other stuff. So, and within here now, I'm going to take these lips and have to move them around. Obviously, we're going to need a teeth layer. So just adjust my stuff. This is going to be, I'm going to lift it up. The lower bottom lip here is going to be pulled down and a little bit to the sides, kind of squaring off the shape of the mouth here. And that's for starters. If anything gets too weird, we can adjust it. But then I'm going to make a teeth shape. I've also got to change this inner mouth a little, just to cover. And inside of here, below the lips, we'll add another layer. This will be top teeth for starters. Not sure what I want it to look like yet. I'm just going to make kind of a white block to figure out, you know, or probably a circle like this, because it'll have that bend toward the ends. And we're going to select the color, just make it white for now. It'll be a little off-white later, but this just gives me something to start with. I'm going to grab the corners here and sort of pull them around. It's a little bit of a Barbie doll kind of mouth right now, but it'll work. Also, I'm going to make the top bits. You're not going to be able to see that, but I turned off those upper lines. And then I'm going to thin out this line here and toward the edges for now. All this will get, you know, reworked. I might even put some teeth lines. I'm not sure yet. So we're going to duplicate that layer. And this will be bottom teeth or teeth lower. And that's what I need to rename this one to teeth upper. That way I look for teeth, I find it, and then I figure out which one it needs to be. So with that other one now, I can just take the layer, flip it over. Oops. And obviously we will have kind of the makeshift bottom teeth here. This will need to be adjusted, obviously, to some degree until it looks right. Those will also be put behind the upper teeth like that. You can't really tell the difference just yet. I know it looks weird and silly right now, but this whole mouth shape will change to make it have more of the shape it's supposed to be. Whoever's watching is probably like, oh, that's horrid. But yeah, until it's fixed, it is. So I'm thinking maybe more of a squarish bottom lip without making it too much larger than it is. So we just come in here and kind of adjust some stuff out and around, maybe kind of like that. The top lip maybe has a little more squarish shape too, I'm thinking. Whoops, let me undo that because I moved everything. Like this, and then I will kind of push these out to give it more of a squared shape. The lines of the teeth are probably too thick, so I'm just going to go with the lower to start with and start narrowing out any of these lines a bit. Upper's obviously still too thick, and that'll help. And eventually these won't have just a straight line. I kind of don't like to do that. So let's say for the tops, I'm going to sort of put a point there and one here. They'll be a little harsh until I can smooth those out a little better. But what I'm doing is, for the moment, hiding this middle bit. We're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So I'm going to add a couple points on the bottom teeth the same way, around the same area. Doesn't have to be exact. And then I'm going to hide these middle lines. And what that is going to do, let's go to the teeth upper and do the same thing. Do we have an extra line here? What's going on? Let me see. I'm going to turn off the teeth upper. And oh, that's just the space in between them. Got it. So I'm going to move this one down just a little bit, and you'll see these will sort of blend. And I'm going to take the bottom ones here now too, not the lip, but the teeth, and get these to sort of come up the same distance here. It's not actually accurate, but you know, they will work for what we're trying to do. And then we can make the upper ones have a thicker edge toward the outside edge, kind of like this, and a thinner edge going into the middle. So thicker this way, thinner this way. It starts to get more of a natural kind of look to them. I think the outside edge also got thinned. My bad. Let's try that again. That's a little better. Okay, so now when we look kind of up here, it's starting to look better. It's not great yet, but you'll see what I mean. Eventually, this is a S-T ch. The ch can have more of a puckered lip for it. So this is just going to situate. It's going to substitute, sorry, for that right now. I'm going to turn on, I think my docs here, I don't have the, what you call it, my chat here. Also need to make sure that the YouTube stats or the control panel says I am in fact logged in, which I may not be. That is a possibility. Let me see. So it says we do have a viewer, so that we must be logged in. So appreciate that, whoever you are. I'm going to move my chat out separate to kind of see that easier. So I'm not not sure why I can't see what's going on here. Let me see my view stats, blah blah blah. Resetting the UI here, and let's go ahead with the docs here one more time. Open up my chat window, and I wanted to put this just as a separate solitary piece till I dock it, so I apologize for any weirdness here. Cool, okay, got it. I'm just gonna write hey, see if anybody responds. Cool. All right. So until then, let me make sure we have this good. There we are for the moment. The black lines probably should be a different color, but I think they're okay. I'm also going to pull the corners of those down just a little bit because I think they are a little too, high up. So give us a little more natural kind of feel to that. All right. And you can pull those in and out as far as you want. And that's going to be our ch, s, and t mouth for the moment. We need an FV. That will be probably the most necessary one next. So I'm going to go, and since this has teeth, we're going to duplicate it. Just go ahead to duplicate layer. And this one's going to be considered FV. And we're just going to manipulate it around. So the bottom lip would definitely be coming up and in again, because it's going to be sort of being bit by the top one a little bit. Kind of like that. So, and it's going to need to squeeze in the sides a little bit. So I'm just going to bring this up bigger to manipulate the sides without destroying the overall shape of both of these if possible. And then the top lip, of course, is going to get the same treatment, kind of like this. It's going to be kind of an F, sort of mouth. And then, of course, the inner mouth and the teeth and all that need to be adjusted over. I will tweak this, obviously, but you're like, well, I hope so. Yeah, so this will come in, maybe even move up just a little bit so we get that the line between the teeth happening, and that way when we bring in the lower teeth, which are going to go behind, they need to be sort of pulled in and over, and then we can make this smaller to pull in this stuff. And looks like the lip needs a little finessing. And I think we want that lip to be a little thinner now, there, because it's going to be squeezing upward. And I'm thinking maybe even something here. I need to make sure that looks kind of more bit, you know. I'm not sure yet. Gonna have to tuck the lip up right toward the center, I think. And it's just, like I said, an approximation. I mean, this is a cartoon, folks. Don't get your hopes up. So I'm gonna maybe go up here, here, something a little more kind of like that. I'm not sure. And spread this out a bit. Trying to make it look a little like buck teeth right there to give that feeling. It's not horrible. It's not great yet. I'm going to swap around a couple of the mouth positions just to kind of it's not really a ch, so I'm going to change the name of that one to just S and T there. And then the normal mouth, and then we're going to have the FV. I mean, it works. It works. I'm going to see, though, the thickness of the lip changing is what's going to bother me a little bit. I think that's okay. Yeah, I think that'll work for the moment. So the ch is going to be like an oo with teeth, kind of. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, and we're going to go in and work it. We're going to copy our teeth from the FV, either one. So the top up, we'll get the teeth upper and lower. We're going to duplicate those, and then we're going to shove those below the lips into the oo2, which is now going to be called CH. And then those teeth going to need to move around a little bit. Yes, a little bit. So something like that. And the bottom teeth, same thing. So it's a bit like a ch, and then we're going to move these teeth lines. Oh, those are the bottom, so they don't count as much. The top ones, though, obviously do. So let's get this in place, and we'll move the points kind of one at a time. So that works for ch, I think. Alrighty. And the bottom lip probably needs to be less wide because it looks like it's coming out way wider than the top. Just about there. That's good. And then maybe a little wider. Less wide on this side for the both of those. I'm just going to grab my magnet here and sort of pull that in a little, and then the lower lip. Forgot these are on separate things, and then the inner mouth obviously needs to be hidden. Alright, so that's looks like ch to me. Close enough anyway. Alright, so as we will click through these on the timeline, we're going to make a switch also for these. So the normal mouth, an O. I think I need to make a also. So we're going to go with the normal mouth. We're going to duplicate it now again. This is going to be A-H. We're going to open it up and we're going to just magnet the top lip here a bit open like this. Just going to give us a basic shape. Bottom lip, same thing. Just for general talking, right? And so this will come up, and this one can go down to the side again, and so on. And that's just kind of like an open mouth. It doesn't have to have teeth. Maybe a little might not be a bad idea, just the top ones perhaps. So we'll go back into our FV or ST. I'm just going to take the top teeth and duplicate those. And then I'm going to grab these and put them in the beneath the lips and make them much smaller, because they don't need to show very much for an sound. In fact, they're supposed to be not blocking the sound or whatever at all, so I think that looks okay. They're a little overly white in my opinion, but you know, it works. I don't really know if I like this yet, so I'm going to swap through the mouths again. That's closed. That is It's not bad, but I think I'm going to pull it down slightly. I think that works a little better. Maybe. The jaw will also be manipulating up and down while these things are being done. So I'll show you what I mean. We're going to do the mouth switch first. And we're going to come over here and make sure to deselect everything. We're going to go to the bone layer right here. I'm going to make sure our bones are deselected. We do have a mouth switch here, so we're going to use that. We're going to go back into the mouth switch, and from the bone layer on frame 0, double click it, and here we are. So we're going to just switch through these mouths. There's 1, 2, let's see, in the mouths there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need to break this up over 7 mouths. So at frame 0, we're going to have our standard mouth. So we're just going to say right here, normal mouth. And then right about here, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to go to the mouth. So we're going to right click here to You can see it changes from here to here. Then right about here, we're going to go to the ST. Right about here, we'll change the next mouth. The FV. It's close. It's not right, but it's close. And then right here, we'll go to the O. Right here, we'll go to the U. And then right here, I guess we'll go to the Ch. Okay. So there are more mouths we could do, but this is a good base set. And we just go back to our main line. And now our switch, when we go to the bone layer, takes a lot of setting up, folks. The switch for this now, we have to turn the power off. There's a lot of strength on that. We're just going to go, I'm going to go over to like frame 1 or something. And now when we move this mouse switch, it will change, or it should, change through our mouths. It's not doing it. I honestly don't know why. Great. We are on the bone layer. We are on, let's just try it at frame 0. Also, we get nothing. Okay, cool. So we're going to remake that switch. Delete. We're going to come over here to the bone itself. Delete that bone. And now that we have all these things done here, all of these switches and whatnot, in that switch layer, from the bone layer, we're going to recreate this bone, making sure nothing else is selected. I'm going to add a bone. I'm going to call this mouth switch. This is going to be a regular action. We're going to make sure we click over here to display that label. There we go. And now, as these change from here to here, you know, from frame 0 on, we're just going to go probably, like I said, the 48 frames. We're going to start out with, let's move our, I did this wrong. That's why it didn't work last time. Let's start out with our bone being at this angle, close enough. And when that happens, we go to our mouth layer, right click. This is where we're going to change to the mouth. Nope. I don't know what's up with this. This is going to be the standard mouth. Normal mouth. Okay. Then I believe we come back here again. That's going to be like so. Hope I'm doing this right. Then let's say frame, let's go to 24. We'll move this up a little more. So we now have this other one. And we're going to go down here to the mouth, right click. We're going to go to the mouth. Back to the bone layer now. And that one actually can go anywhere. We can slide these over, which is nice. And then back to the bone layer. We're going to just come up here to another arbitrary frame. Move this up to here. We're going to go back down to the mouth and now do the S and T. Then we're going to go back to the bone layer. So this is back and forth a lot. Let's say here. Like I said, it doesn't matter exactly where things happen. I'm probably moving this too much, but as long as we can find it while we're animating is what matters. And we're going to go here at that point and do the FV. So we got 3 more we got to do. So back to the bone layer. We're going to go to here. We're going to go to here. We're going to come down to the mouth, right click, and go now to the O. We're going to do the same thing again. So there's a lot of tedious moving on some of this, granted. Did I move the switch? That's the O. This is going to be the, so that's F, O. And this is going to be the OO that we're going to do right here. We've got to swap this out now for the OO. Go back to the bone layer. Move this all the way over. And we're going to come up to somewhere around here. And this is going to wind up switching over to the ch. Okay. So now when we go back to the main line here. I need to get rid of this mouth switch because obviously that one was not the good one. There we go. Mouth switch 2 should work. Let's get rid of its power. Those should not have power. And then once we go through here on our bone layer with a manipulate bones tool, we still are not working. Let's try it on a frame. We are still not working. I don't know what's going on, but I'm about to be really frustrated. It's my favorite thing to do every day. Okay, so what's the problem? We're going to delete this mouth switch 2. Start over again. Yay me. Alright, so this one, let me make sure it moves, so that's good. The manipulate should make it manipulate as well, which it doesn't. That's something I'm kind of confused about. Why is that not wiggling it? Okay, so we'll delete it again, I guess. I think I am doing something dreadfully wrong in the beginning of this. Let me do this from frame 0. Okay, and now we'll do this one more time. Frame 0 on the bone layer. Mouth switch. We gotta name it. I think I did something wrong in the beginning. So there's our mouth switch. We're now with it on frame 0 on the bone layer. We're going to add an action called mouth switch. That's going to pop over to where we're at. I'm going to leave that on frame 1, I think. I'm just going to leave that alone. This needs to be right now switched. Let's also go back to the bone layer. Hang on. Here. This needs to be pushed over to where I want this to start. Okay. And then now somewhere here, this needs to now go down to the mouth we want it to switch to. That will be the normal mouth there. Okay. And now as we go over back to there, we're going to come up a ways. I'm going to move the mouth switch to somewhere in between. And at that point, now we're going to swap out for the mouth. So we just go to here. It shows us the switch. It should be happening here with no problem. I'm going to go back up to the bone layer again. We're going to move down a frame or so. Move this up to here, wherever we want it to be. That will make us a marking for that. We're going to swap that moment to the ST mouth. Back up to here. We're going to go to the next frame. Move this over to something like this. Swap the mouth out for FV. Back to the bone layer. Move over here. Move the switch. Very important you do it in this order. We're going to right click and go to the O mouth. We're going to go back to the bone layer. Move over, move the switch. And go down to the mouth, switch it over to the OO. And then we're going to go back to the bone layer one last time. Something here. Move the switch. And go back to the mouth and swap it for the CH. Now I'm going to jump back to the main line. This should work when we go back to the bone layer. If not, then I'm done for the day, I guess. We're going to move the power of the bone down. And this should allow me. Yes, so we got this one. We can switch to this one, switch to this one, and so on anytime we want to do those switches. Okay? So that's just switching out the separate mouths. And then we're going to need a separate, what's up, Sloth Cat? Long time no see. And then we're going to have another mouth switch or control that will be able to make it smile, be able to make it drop the jaw. That's going to be a big one. So let's add that dude first. So with those done, it's hard to see on this background, I realize. I will have to change my settings so you can see the bones better. But in fact, let me just go in once this saves. Of course, my coffee is cold again, as usual. I did pay my phone bill finally today. Once this saves, which it is still waiting a second to do, we can go in and do the jaw movement. So that's going to be very important for certain mouths. The jaw is going to have to be able to drop. And so let's go to our preferences here real quick and make sure that on our colors for our bones, so this is object green, it says here, let's make that object, let's go ahead and select like a really bright yellow or something. I think that'll do it. Say okay. I don't see it changing. There we go. So these bones will show up. Now anything inside of here is going to be a huge pain. But whatever. We're working with this right now. So now I'm going to do the jaw. We're just going to come down, make sure nothing is selected. If we do select something, it'll turn red. So nothing is selected. I'm going to add another bone at frame 0 on the bone layer. And this is going to be, I'm just going to put it down here. We're going to put this on the jaw drop. That's what I'm going to call it, jaw drop. And this one is going to be probably just a regular action. Let's make sure that the label is showing. And the regular action here, we're going to add jaw drop. So basically it's just going to go from here to like, I don't know, 48. And we're just going to be able to move the face layer here. It's a ton of layers in here. I don't even know how many, 350? It's ridiculous. So now we're just going to take the jaw and knock down these points a bit just to get us a little bit of that jaw coming down. Hopefully it doesn't make her look too odd with certain open. We just want this for the open ones, not on this I'm going to take the shadow, obviously, and move it down as well with our good friend, the magnet tool here. And that should work pretty good. Let's just see. So this will only be on the, it's moving a little bit to her right. So we'll just pull that over as well as the jaw itself. Not sure why it's doing that, but cool. Oh, one thing, you need to turn off your smoothing and make sure these are linear only. Very important with actions and smart bone dials and so forth. They should all be linear, otherwise they're going to speed up and slow down within their action and ruin your animation. You won't be able to figure out why the timing is so bad. Okay, so if we switch, let's go back to the bone layer here. Now, if we switch these out using, let's make sure the strength is turned off on these. If we switch these out using, let's say at the mouse switch, we jump to something that opens like this one. We want to be able to drop this jaw down, which it's not working. My favorite. Okay, what am I doing wrong? I don't know if that's a bug. You know what it is? It's probably I'm not on an animatable frame. So like this, then we can drop the jaw. Nope, still not working. Okay, back to the drawing board on that one. Let's make sure our default mouth here also is the closed one for now. Normal mouth. There we go. And now go back to the bone layer. I don't know why this jaw drop is not working. So I'm going to delete it for now. Don't know what's going on with it. Just clear it out all the way. That way we don't have to worry about it. Oh, you know what it is? I probably didn't move the bone when I moved the points. Silly man. So what we're going to do is within there, we're going to add an action to it on frame 0. This will be jaw drop. Yep. So now at about frame 48, when this thing is this way, that's what I forgot to do. We'll get that, and then now we can make our face and shadow drop down. I can't believe I forgot to do that. So we're going to grab this and just drop this down straight. A little bit less, a little bit like that, smoother on the sides. Get these in a better position. Okay, so that should at least work for the jaw movement. Now we're going to come back up to the good old main line and the bone layer. This will be cool. Lots of work, but you can see that, let's say we move our mouse switch to here, we have a normal jaw, and if we move this open, we need to drop our jaw down so that this will, you know, flex with the jaw and not look like the mouth is just moving on its own. Yay! Okay, cool. So that's cool that we have that control. In fact, I'm going to move this bone over to here. Okay, that all seems to work. I'm gonna move this just slightly farther over, both these, so they're not getting too jumbled. And now, what else does she need? So many things we could do. All of the eye controls, everything work really well. There's our brows down, brows up. They are also individual if we want to do them that way. So you can see here, I don't know why they're not working individually, perhaps because I'm not on frame 1. Yeah, there we go. So you can do individuals as well. The eyes left and right. The up and down works well. Separate from our lovely highlights. So, you know, that nothing's moving but those. The blink works well. Plus we have a widen, which works well with the brows lifting. So if you guys think that's pretty cool, I do. She can look up. She can look this way. She can go, huh? What's up there? Blink a little bit. They can come down, and when they come down, of course, they can be lowered to look like so. Switch the mouths to what else we need. F-O. I don't wonder what that stands for. Fout. Looks like fout. Mott. So mott fout. Mott fout. Get away from you, you mott fout. Yeah, you get it. Cool. So the jaw drops, you know, when certain things are said. Maybe a little bit on that one. Definitely back up for that. You get it. And back close again. Cool. All right. She's got a very functional set of expressions, which I dig. I'm not sure why the mouth is defaulting to that S layer, but that's easily fixable. Normal mouth. The head does turn. Let's go ahead and go back to that bone layer, and you can look at the good head turn that I've made here. Oops, not like that. That's because we're on frame 0. We're going to frame 1, though. You can see works well. The teeth are not included in that, obviously. That needs to be rectified. And obviously there are some mouth shapes that have come in since I did the head turn that are wigging out a little bit. This should be our default mouth right now, like this. But that seems to not be making much of a difference in the whacking out of it. So that's something I'll have to work on. I'm not sure why, once again, this mouth is not just going to the normal mouth here. Interesting. Normal mouth. It is not. First position is that. So perhaps that is dependent on the bone and where it is set. So if we take the bone now and set it this way, it will be fine when there's a head turn. Yep. Now if I open the mouth while that's... Yeah, they get all nasty. Look at that. Oh boy. Not happy with this. Okay, so for whatever reason our mouths are not obeying this head turn. There's a warpage happening there that's no good. So that will have to be put into the head turn for every mouth. My favorite thing in the world to have to do. So, yeah. Delete that, go back to 0. We'll go into head turn 1. And upon turning, you can see how that gets funky. This is the S and T mouth. So the teeth will have to be adjusted as well. This is no joke, folks. No joke right here. And teeth lower. So every single mouth position will have to be adjusted for the head turn, every head turn action. So, fun. You can hear it in my voice. I'm just like, Arr. So the lip bottom is kind of jacked. The lip top here also kind of jacked. And this is for the S and T position, so I have to remember that as I'm making these. This is gonna be adjusted. There's inner mouth is obviously way out there. The lips, okay, so basically, you get it. I have to go through every one of these mouth shapes and redo all of this for every, for each one of those actions. So it's not horrible, it's just a pain in the butt at this point. Thought I was done with it. You're never done. Never done. So some of these will look a little strange possibly. So you see how the lip goes down when it goes over. We don't want that. I mean, it's going to change shape to some degree. We just don't want it to be awful. Needs to be pretty natural. So that one's okay. Then I have to do it for the head turn 2 for that same mouth, and I have to do this for every one of these mouth shapes. As you can see, for some reason this one is not turning. Oh, that's because we need to be back on the bone layer for that. So head turn 2, then we pick the mouth that we want to use, the ST mouth, move it over, and it's jacked again. Let's go try to fix the teeth first. And I like to do this with point animation as opposed to the layer animation, because it whacks itself out. Let's go with the docs here. I'm going to bring up my stats. Not the stats. The control panel, I think. Is that the one I was looking for? Yeah. Just dock this up here in the top so I can see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so with that, now I've got to come back in here with the teeth, the top lips, everything, and reconfigure all this. So bear with me, or leave, or whatever you want to do. You got more important things to do than watch me have to correct an issue. Now, if I would have done this before, I think anyway, I don't know if I could have fixed it. I added these lip mouth shapes after I did the head turn. I should have done it first. You still have to mess with it though, but the head turn, it would have happened during the head turn fixing, so not horrible. It's something that would have had to been done one way or the other. This one's just a little more kind of involved, a little bit more of a pain in the butt. So we'll just kind of come around here. I'm going to have to figure out where all this goes. The bottom lip obviously is going to be pushed down from the inside a bit here. Kind of like that. And then the more you move this back and forth, the more you can see what's kind of wrong about it. So this is going to help me create that line at the edge visibly right here. Pull that down and kind of pinch that out of the way. Let's see what looks weird. The top of that lip is totally whacking out. So we're going to go back with the top lip. This will be kind of pulled over. Got to make sure she doesn't look like she smelled a fart. Pretty important in my opinion. I mean, unless that's what the video was about. So this is okay, but still dropping down pretty far. See the middle where that bow comes down. It needs to make sure that that isn't doing things that it wouldn't be doing just by turning the head. Okay, the bottom lip seems to rise up this whole section. Yeah, right through there, that feels like it's whacking out sideways pretty weirdly. Right in the middle here, it gets kind of weird. Not sure why. Alright, so what I'm going to do is select all those also and make sure they're all linear. Top lip as well, because, yeah, see, they're not linear and they need to be. Teeth, everything. Do this separately to ensure that's what's going on. Teeth lower. Because anything smooth will lag behind at certain points. Linear, still linear, that's all good. Okay, so head turn 1 and 2 is good for the ST. Now I've got the normal mouth, the all the other ones. Yeah, great. All right, so back to the main line now. Let's just check that one out with the bone layer. We're going to go ahead and do the head turn. Just make sure that works okay. It's not perfect. The mouth warps a little weirdly there. I will fix that though. You get the idea. Huge pain in the butt. Huge. So it's like this whole side or corner kind of drops down. So we're gonna go in here and correct it with our magnet. I think will be a little better for most of it anyway. Let me just see now. It's a little better, but you see how it kind of pinches together, and it's that top lip mostly. I think that's better. It gets a little smaller, but I think that's fine because it's turning to the side. The head turn 1, though, is also off, so we'll check it. Oh yeah, it's way off in comparison. So that gets smaller and dips down in the middle there. Maybe like that. I can live with that one. Let's go ahead and make sure it's linear. The top and bottom lips. Don't think I changed the teeth, so we'll go with that. All right, like I said, huge pain. I am not sure why that's not switched back to my main line. Let's make sure what's going on there. Let's get rid of the keyframes, and I'm just going to test, like on frame 1, that head turn. Definitely better. Definitely better. So yes, I have to go through every single expression now and fix it. Oh, my favorite. So now we'll move over, delete those keyframes, and do it for the next one. The normal mouth should not need anything, so I'm just going to delete that. I don't know why it keeps defaulting to this open one. Moho. I'm going to go ahead and at the beginning select the normal. And you see it's not changing. I don't know why. This is a pain. This is a pain. Let's go with normal. And it wants to keep flopping to that other one. Okay, so I gotta tell you, I don't know why. I've got no others of that. Let's go to head turn 1 again and see how it's always showing that on beyond frame 1. If I go back to my main line, where I should see a keyframe for that, there isn't one. So we'll go down to the face, we'll go down to the mouths. I see a switch there, which we can get rid of, but it doesn't remove that switch. And this is always trying to normally go to that particular mouth shape. So if I move again and come back, see, it's fine. I don't understand what's happening here. If I go to, but see, it's trying to highlight it again right here. If I go to mouth, it's got this one naturally highlighted. It should not be that way. Glitches. Somebody tell me what's going on with that. Because it's at frame 0, it's got a setting here. I'm going to move that up to, if it lets me. Nope. I'm going to go to frame 1 though. See how it goes to something even though there's not a keyframe. I'm going to switch this out to the normal mouth, which doesn't change. Why? You know, if I go to here and say now go to normal mouth here, it's still not changing. Why is this not changing? That is not good news. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I know it might be, you know what it is? It's on the bone layer. My mouse switch is defaulting to this position. If I were to move that to this position, it would be closed. Let's get rid of this. See how it's defaulting that position. That's what it is. So to get those positions, I'm going to have to go here, go to the bone layer, move it into that position. Then do my head turn. I am not so sure I like that. So go into the head turn. It jumps back again. Yeah, not cool, guys. I do have some here which I don't want. Those mouth positions should in no way be there. Head turn 2. There should be no mouth positions here either, and there are. But it's still got this in the wrong position. It's fine. I'll just have to ignore it for now, I think. But it should be defaulting to this all the way through. It does turn, but why? Yeah. And if I set this right now to be, you know, a thing, it's going to screw it up. And look, here's my ear already messing up within that action. I am getting a little agitated. We're going to be on frame 1. The mouth would be here. You can't adjust that within the action to just be defaulted all the way through to that. Why is the default upright? That's another thing. If I go into my my settings for this bone, constraints, I can turn on an angle constraint to make sure it doesn't go beyond those points, obviously. But not just, can you do it where you're starting out at a certain angle, you know? Like its default position, you know? Target an independent angle, I don't think is gonna take care of that. I really honestly don't know how to set this default position for that bone, because you don't want it always upright. Now I could make it to where, you know, the upright position is that particular mouth shape, I guess. So we're going to go back into our bone mouse switch. And at this point we have that, you know, at this point we have that, and at this point we have this, and on and on. So I could put an upright position like so, right? Create a new keyframe there, like by manipulating the good old handle like this. And then making sure that this is my, you know, when that happens, we have the closed mouth. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of to do, which is fine. I think it'll help. Let's see, we'll go back to the main line. We will move the mouth around the playhead. It seems to be working. I'm going to go back, though, to the bone layer. This will make all the difference. And if I move, we get that fine if I move the mouth switch, but if I move the head, okay, obviously that's going to whack out. Let's move it to frame 1. That's fine. So that took care of it at the moment. I don't know why we're getting this screwed up ear now again. I mean, this is something that just kills me in Moho. There's always some kind of display error. There's always some kind of layer ordering error. It's killing me lately, and it hasn't been that way for a while, but now it's just gotten worse and worse again. I don't know why. I cannot animate this chick if her ear is going to be visible when she turns her head this way. And I can animate the layer order. I'm not going to worry about it. That's supposed to be happening within my head turn, but it's not. So I'll have to do this manually when her head turns, which I think is crap. But hey, there's a lot of things I think are crap that don't get changed. Okay, so anyway, there's that. The mouth dips weirdly on that side, in my opinion. I don't like the way the mouth angles when she turns her head. Man, I think I've frustrated myself to the ends of the earth right now. So on head turn 1, that mouth corner dips way too much. We're going to fix that because I hate it. Man, I just created 90 times the amount of work for myself. So the normal mouth, top lip, bottom lip, and I'm going to have to fix every one of these individually because I'm so smart that I did them wrong, essentially, in making them. So I don't like that dipping down. This should come up a bit like this. This one, I believe, should be doing the same thing. We'll test this motion. I think that's better. Head turn 2, instead of coming down, they actually need to come up a little. Maybe not that much. We'll find out, though. Back here to the main line. Zoom out here. Go to my bone layer. The problem with this is I've got to get this entire video done by the 16th. So, okay, back on frame 1 or 0, 1, yeah. And then check it here. That is definitely better. That's a little better. That one still needs a little work in my opinion, but that looks okay. I can live with it at least. The ear thing is really ticking me off because that one doesn't do it. It works perfectly. And now it's actually this one's gone. Because they're not automatically changing their layer order. That's okay. I'll do it all manually. Okay, so now I also need an up and a down of the face. And I do need to fix all these mouth positions within the head turn. My favorite. So let's just deselect everything, go back to frame 0, be on the bone layer. I'm going to create an up and down here, which is probably going to be the next bane of my existence. I think I want to turn this one to be kind of this way, up and down, right? And I'm going to make this one up, down. and show the label. And then we can go into our bone constraints, add some angle constraints. I think I'll leave it at 70 and negative 70. That's fine. And we'll make sure we have an action here, up, down. This has to be split though, so I'm going to undo that action. And I'm going to go and make this into a bone dial. So this is going to be, so the minimum is negative 70. So let's go negative 70 and 70. Frames, sure, whatever. Because we'll have some stuff to work. And see, I hate that. Why? Why doesn't it let me position it the way I want? Okay, that will go this way. This will move the head down. So obviously, all of our mouths, the layer will be brought down. That looks lovely. And then we're going to bring the nose, brows, eyes, all those downward. They will need to change shape. The face obviously will be changing shape. Use our lovely magnet here to kind of pull these together, and then of course the hairline and everything needs to come down now. I'm gonna move the head shape here just to help hide that when the hair comes down. These won't be seen, so I'm not really worried about their perfection, even though I'm messing with them. The face shadow obviously needs to be adjusted. I have to grab that one individually. This one really needs another point put into it, because this is a little hard to manipulate, this weirdness here. I don't understand why that flips around, but there's a lot of things I don't understand. Alright, the eyes probably need to be a little closer to the nose now. So we'll grab those with the brows, pull all this down, maybe even take this little nose line, sort of pull that down as well. Make the nose kind of squished a little farther down as well within itself, like this. The lips probably need the same treatment, so that's going to be hell. Let me go do some mouth swapping. Why did I do this? So the ears I hate, but I can't do anything about it. That's the ear left. It's going to need to come down to some degree. Overall, let's get the whole thing. I did have earrings, but they were a nightmare, and I will never put them back. That was ear right or ear left. Where's my ear right? That needs to also be brought down some. Now the hair. Bang, top right. I need to judge this by how much this all moves together when it moves. We want it to stretch a little bit. The the, what do you call it, forehead is going to elongate to some degree. So, and let's get this other bang here down there. Remember all these do need to be linear. So all that stuff I just did, I got to go back and check this, which is another time suck. So the mouths moving linear, the nose, and yes, they have to be done individually like this instead of all of them. You can't select each of them, all of them together in a group and do this. Something I think they need to fix. There might be a good reason why you can't from some technical standpoint, but yeah, it's a pain to have to do this individually. So linear, linear. This one also linear. The face shape and shadow shape linear. And same. Because this is literally just going from one position to another is why you do linear. The ears, obviously, we're going to need to do linear to their movement. Ear right. Let's go find ear left real quick so I don't forget about it. Here. Here, ear. I don't know what else I moved. The brows, I think I already got. Yeah, nope, maybe not. Horrible. Linear. This one. Yep, got that one. The nose, yes. Okay. Pain in the butt. So the braids are going to need to go up when the head tilts down. So the braid, let's do the upper parts of those braids first, which are going to be lower, if you can believe it. They're going to go upward to some degree. This one also be going upward. And those need to obviously be also made linear. And then the lower braids, which are here, also need to move up to match these. God forbid we have to turn her head while it's in this position. I'm not doing it. Like that. Those will be made linear. The up and down will only be from the front, because there's no reason that I think we should ever need to see that with the head turned. I mean, if we wanted it more dynamic, we could, but it would be another week's worth of work. So, no. All right, so now the hair, all that needs to be moving around. I'm not going to worry about that, I don't think. Let's just get with the visible hair now. Hair top, here we go. Wisp front here. This will obviously be moving straight down with that piece, so back to 100. I'm going to try and get away with mostly okay, and you can see what happens when it's not linear. Kind of floats around. So this moves down linearly. These will need to be still connected at this point. Something like this. Probably will have to change the shape at some point. Ugh, what a nightmare. Okay. Let's see here. That's a little better. Not great. And we'll go the top braids. All of this stuff has to move just for this head tilt. And I'm going to now pull these points around. So we're doing point animation and layer animation here. And let's see where we're at here, making sure these are all linear. So those need to, these lines here now need to move just straight down. I don't know how far just yet. All the line layer needs to be done linear. You see what a pain in the butt that is, huh? This is rigged animation, folks. Sometimes it feels like it'd be easier just to draw it, but that takes tons of time in its own right as well. Let's see where this lines up. These will probably wind up more of a straight line. This is going to be somewhere down here. Very hard to judge how it's going to go while it's going. This is a true art right through here. You have to kind of watch really watch what's happening and how it's supposed to wind up landing. I made that one longer for no reason. Not perfect. It'll never be perfect, sadly. So this one's going to have a roundness to it. Still accent this shape. Maybe it straightens out a little more, but very tedious, to say the least. This is going to have to go back up slightly just to kind of extend the distance between these. And this one probably needs kind of, I don't know, it feels like it wants to spread out more, but I don't know. Something like that, maybe. Okay, and then I'm watching where the lines are here. The tip of this braid is with this line. So as I pull this over, the tip of the top braid is with the second line. This one has to move all the way down to here. So let's start from the bottom up instead, and then pull this one over a little like that. So the bottom braid, we're going to worry about this one later, but this first one here, the long one, is going to go with that line. So I have to come over and then grab this braid here, and we're going to move it, and then I need to make sure that I make that linear. So I'm going to use the magnet tool. And you can see this one moves with that line. So 100, this is going to kind of do this. And then that has to be made linear. Everything else on this layer will be linear after I do that. So not horrible. This one's just going to get kind of turned and squashed. So I'm going to grab it, pull it down a bit. You know, give it some kind of rotation-y feel. See what happens there. Not great, but we can maybe do some stuff. Okay, that one also for some reason feels now that it needs to be linear, which it does. I forgot I switched to another. See, they're tucked together here, but there is a little separation that happens there, but that's too much separation, so I'm going to make sure that that comes back down and still has a bit of togetherness there. Let's see. Come on. I think that's okay. So this one is with this line that's at the center of the head. So we need to grab this guy here, and it's got to come down to here. So make this a little bigger. just sort of pull this all the way down, turn this stuff, and lift this kind of back up maybe in here. I'm not trying to completely arrange where they are on the head. Okay, and that shouldn't be pressing out so far. It should be kind of coming in still. And then, of course, we need to change these back to linear. That way they don't float. Okay, not perfect, but I'll tweak this as we go. In fact, I think this one probably needs to be kind of pushed over, and then this outside maybe come down slightly. You kind of do it by feel and looking at it 300 times. Someone's got to roll forward a bit. I don't know if that much. Then this one will come down now. Right here. Nope. Here. To this line here. Just double check that. Yep. This can still... So I'll have to check how that works. It's moving a bit much, so... See what works here. It's a bit much. It's a bit rolly. So I'll just push these guys back a little bit. Trying to block the one side of the head. Also, these need to be made linear. And I think this other one at the bottom needs to be kind of backed off slightly like this. Okay, and then this other little flappy weird piece here needs to be spread out toward the back of it. So you just kind of keep doing this stuff over and over until it looks right. I mean, there is a rhyme and reason to it, especially if you understand like timing of keyframes and stuff. But you really want to make sure, for one, all your points are linear. But yeah, so it kind of does what it does. It's a pain in the butt though, because we got to do this for both sides of the head. You see how the braids now go up, like they're being pulled upward as the head comes down. Don't really like the face shape though. That will change. It's not bad. So let's go ahead and do the other half of the hair. So bang top left. I think I have both bangs. So now we're going to do the hair top right. I'm going to go straight here to 100. And just pull the main points down here. Just straight down. Trying to be careful that I don't overdo it or wig anything out too badly. This wisp part here, it's going to grab all these, pull them straight down. Start figuring out how that fits in like the other one did. The other issue we have here is because the ear is screwed. It's weird from the other one, and I don't know exactly what I did to make it that way, and I don't want to delete it and redo it, and then I have to redo everything that the ear is involved in, so I'll work with it. Those need to be linear. Yeah, it's a pain that it's not behind that ear already. Let's just move some of these. Okay, I think that needs to not get so small. That's better. The shadow not changing is freaking me out a little bit, so I'm going to fix that real quick as well. Okay, that's all linear. Let's do that face shadow real quick. Yeah, it's going to move the front of it mostly. All of it can come down, but I'm just going to pull this to make sure this moves. That's supposed to be around the cheek. And this is supposed to be kind of like the dip of the eye. This kind of here, I believe. So we'll just check that. It's not horrible. Pull this down to accommodate. Let's see here. I'm going to move a few of these, be a little more natural or correct. Get those off of the face. They're trying to come in where they shouldn't be. Whoops. Something a little more straight there, I guess, but these are kind of whacking out. These. So, if anybody's watching, say hello. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what's going to make this better. I think those could be brought around here. Okay, there we go. Now let's get the rest of the hair. Hair top. I'll worry about the jaw later. It's going to go with our lines here. And we know that this one should be in the front middle, so I'm going to worry about that one first. It's obviously the one that's going to have traveled the most, so I'll go ahead and linear those guys out. Ooh, the top hair I can see already is not made linear because it was bouncing. There we go. Back to our lines. It's looking all right. Let's get this other little one. We're just going to move it straight down. Something like this. Also, make sure it is linear. Okay. This dude is probably going to meet that other one. Yep. Now I could be selecting the entire line here. That works, but I'll also have to go and flex it out, you know, anyway, but might save a second or two or a few movements of the mouse, I suppose. Alright, so just double checking to make sure everything is in fact linear. I mean, I'm going to grab all these. I don't know if I can do these together, but I'm going to try. And just say, hey, linear please. Alright. You can even double check them by clicking on them and making sure linear is popping up in this window. You can even select individual points if you want. Alright, so at this point, I know this dude we're going to work on first probably needs to be This needs to be down here. So braid 4, braid 3. And I'm going to grab our magnet tool, make it a little bigger, and just sort of bring this guy down and then test, after making it linear, what this should really be doing. I don't think that's horrible. I could change the profile of it slightly like that, just to make sure they're actually adjusting. Okay, and making sure that the tip of it, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so this one goes down to the second line now. That would be this guy. Just gonna grab this and push these to make sense as well. That's pretty ugly. I'm going to make that linear first off, and try to move a few of these around to make that a little smoother. They're clumpy, but they shouldn't be that bad, you know? That one also moves back a bit, so we're going to pull these forward a little. I think I can live with that for now. And then now off to this other braid here. Where are you coming down from? That's that next line down there. So go back to 100. Let's just increase this up and stretch that down. Possibly shift some things. Of course, make it linear. Let's see, I think that's working just fine there. So let's just see this all the way around. I don't hate it. We need to fix this little clump on the right, her right. That one will just be a matter of stretching part of this one forward to some degree. Linear again. Not bad. Let's just make sure it's not getting buried in that. Pop that out. Maybe push this back a little like this. Alright, I think that's okay. The face shape, I think, is the one that's bothering me the most right now, so just kind of come down here and look. That chin feels like it widens a bit weirdly. I do want a wider jaw a little, though, on this. Let's just see, oops, not smooth, linear. Okay, I think I can live with that. Alright, so that's pretty good. Other than having to change those lip changes for every expression, that's going to be a big pain in the butt. The next thing would wind up being, though, having to do hand shapes for hand positions, swappable hands. I'm thinking, too, of making Vitruvian hands to where we have bone shapes also per hand shape, which is probably going to give us the most freedom. I just don't know if we 1000% need it. I wanted this to look a little more articulated and better than the first video that I did for the same person, so we'll see. I need to take a break, though. I'm getting a little weirdly hungry or something, and I appreciate you guys watching, but there'll be more, so take it easy.